what happened was that, okay, what happened was that they missed out on issues such as sexual and gender-based violence response. So when women would, or when organizations that respond to SGBV issues would go around the country, police would tell them, you guys are not essential workers, you guys are not emergency response people. And that was because they didn't have adequate women representation on that panel. Because if they had adequate women representation in that panel, all the bases would have been covered. But the way politics is structured in Nigeria and indeed a lot of African societies is that women are marginalized, which means that their issues, for example, would take the back burner. Other things would take priority, not because men are trying to be wicked, but because the reality is that men just don't get it. I mean, over the years, men have been socialized not to understand, the dynamics of issues affecting women. Also, even from like the statistics around maternal mortality rates, Nigeria is one of the leading countries, in terms of maternal mortality. If we add more women in political power, they would have been able to control the narrative around that issue and actually invest more in our healthcare. Women know how important it is for their kids, to get the best of education, to get the best of healthcare. And when we leave women out of the conversation in development, we're doing ourselves more harm than good. So another example I like to paint is that, imagine that women like Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, for example, or Aroma Ote, or a lot of your Nigerian women, or even myself, imagine that we had no access to education. Imagine the loss that it would be to our societies and our nations. It's that same loss we're experiencing when we don't allow or give the opportunity for women to be adequately represented in political participation. I mean, it's just basic science, or sorry, basic mathematics. The country is running at a loss by virtue of the fact that women are not involved in decision-making process, because you spend all these resources in the South, for example, there's more gender parity in terms of education and how many people go to school. You spend so much resources to train a girl child, to equip her to be the best she can be. But then you say, this is how far you can go. You can only have this kind of power, but you can't have the power that would really equip you to make the difference in your society. That is a loss to the society, not just in terms of like the social cultural dynamics, but in economic terms, really. The continent continues to lose billions of dollars simply because women are not being adequately represented in decision making process. Yeah.
Wow. I am more clear on this fact right now. And as regards to Nigerian's economy, I think this is the right time we need you guys. We need all female to ensure that they take part not just in politics, but actively in politics. Now, uh, quickly, before we leave politics, 2020 elections is around the corner. Would like you to maybe enlighten us on our rights as individuals, as adults, and most importantly, as electorates, and
Okay.
what should we expect in 2020?
All right. Yali members are one of the most politically engaged Nigerians that I know. Every time during the electoral cycle, there's always one Yali member engaging the process either through its organization or as individuals. So of course you should get your PVC. Goes without saying. I mean, I don't want to believe that there's any Yali member who doesn't have a PVC right now. So please go get your PVCs. Most importantly, educate the electorate and empower the electorate, particularly in terms of economic empowerment. So I appreciate the early members who are in the entrepreneur space because they look for ways to lift Nigeria and Nigerians out of poverty. We've talked about vote buying, and I hope that there's no Yali member who sells his or her votes. I want to believe that, yearly members don't engage in those kind of things. But for the people who have to struggle through the economic hardships ongoing in the country, it is difficult for you to tell them not to sell their votes when they don't have any other means of livelihood. So another approach I like to encourage as many young people as possible to get to do is to provide opportunities for marginalized communities and communities in concentrated poverty to get out of that system, that poverty system. Because what happens, you can't tell somebody who is hungry or who doesn't know where the next meal is coming from not to sell you our votes. The person will laugh at you because you're speaking from a place of privilege. So I want us to continue to use our privilege to provide opportunities for people in low income communities to have access to better their lot. So either by providing business opportunities for them, organizing trainings on how they can expand ongoing businesses, joining initiatives to protect the interest of marginalized communities. So, when these people see you as somebody who is for them and who has been protecting their interests, then you can easily tell them not to sell their votes. Because I mean, it might be just 5,000 naira to you, but for someone who has 3 months to feed, it is not just 5,000 naira. And because poverty has been weaponized by the political class, it is difficult for people to actually listen to, any message that is just a message without, power to support the implementation of that message. So I think that young Nigerians can, of course, continue to enlighten the communities around them about the importance of engaging in decision-making process and about the importance of stepping out to vote, stepping out to vote and protect their votes. I also think that, excuse me, so yeah, one of the most recent views that we worked on at New Voices was around the passage of the Electoral Act. And now we have been able to have that in National Assembly, but I also want to encourage as many young Nigerians as possible to actually sit down and go through that new act and also intensify pressure on the president in terms of signing and passing that act way before the electoral season. Because when elections start in full gear now, there might be an excuse that, oh, this is too close to election season, so we cannot pass the act. So I want to encourage as many young Nigerians as possible to also join us in that fight, to encourage the president to assent to the electoral amendment bill that is currently with him as well. So apart from, so, you can, based on that, a summary of my points is that you can empower people financially so they are not dependent on the political class. You can encourage them to fight against voter apathy. You can also encourage them by putting pressure on the lawmakers and on the executive to pass laws that will make our electoral process more transparent and free and fair, an electoral process that we can be proud of. Our democracy is not perfect, but it needs the continuous engagement of young people like you and I to make the difference.
Wow, wow, this is awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, our guest speaker. We have actually been on call with our distinguished guest speaker, Barrister Adebanke Ilori Oyeniyi. And we've not gone far. We just asked some few questions and clarity has been given us. We would want to continue. And like I said earlier, I will be sharing the anchor stage with Dr. Ejike Abali. But before I call him to stage, uh, yes, ma, I want to ask this very last one regarding politics anyway. It has to do with youth resulting to apathy, as a way of getting back to the government. Uh, what exactly is your view regarding this, knowing your professionalism and expertise in public management?
Okay, and so first, young people are not getting back at politicians, we are doing ourselves, we are the ones that will suffer for it if we decide not to vote, because the political class has obviously shown that they do not care, about what young Nigerians think. On a number of platforms, they have shown that. So when you decide that you want to, get back at them, you're not getting back at them by not participating in politics. First, it's your taxes that they use to organize the elections. And the budget they have made, is for all young people of voting age. So whether you vote or not, whether you participate in the process or not, they will spend that money. So it's your loss, as a young person, if you decide not to participate, not just because they are spending your taxes on organizing the elections, but because you are losing the opportunity to be a part of the decision-making process in your country or in your community, as it may be. So it's not, I mean, the politicians, it's easier for them. It's easier for them to just go on and stamp ballots of people who didn't show up, but you will be the one to live with the consequences of your decision for the next 4 years. I mean, things don't change because, we are angry and we sit at home. Things change because we are angry and we act meaningfully on our emotions to push for the changes that we want to see. So voter apathy is not is hurting the electorate more than the elected, essentially.
Now, I have a problem with the Nigerian political system. The
Mm.
truth is,
Yeah.
you may want to correct an anomaly, especially within the youth. But
Yeah.
again, most of them that carry out some of these acts should I say, I don't want to use the word illiterate because I don't think anyone is illiterate. They don't basically have the knowledge to hold on, or maybe call to order their representative, but follow them. And if they are not giving what they are expecting, they become so disturbed, and rancor
Mm.
will in the order of the day. So how do you think we'll be able to pass through these people, educate them, help them, make them understand better that it's not all about political apathy. It's not all about raising all those dust and all that. It's about getting our things together. How do you think we can go about that?
Okay, so first, Yali members are doing that. I know a number of young Yali members who go, to communities to engage and sensitize them on their rights as voters. But I want us to continue and intensify the work in that space. I also want us to empower these communities with knowledge and with as many resources as possible so that they can understand the dynamics of elections and of political participation. But I also want to remind us that, change, national development takes time. Nigeria's democracy in the grand scheme of things is still young. You know, our return to democracy was in 1999. And prior to that time, Nigerians had been under oppressive military rules with various interruptions over the years. So I want us to be kind to our people, especially the people that we feel are yet to understand why elections are important and why political participation is important. Nigerians are a resilient group of people. We've been through a lot. We've been through a lot. And my advice in that regard would be to continue that process. Change is not going to come because, we're frustrated. Like I said, change is going to come because we're acting consistently, on our frustrations and on our anger and on our emotions. They say that eternal vigilance is the price you pay for democracy. So there's no perfect democracy anywhere in the world. Even the United States has its own issues. There's no perfect democracy. It's just going to be we continuing to commit to the process of continuous and never-ending improvement, engaging that space, engaging the people in the marginalized communities, and not giving up on our country. Because I mean, the journey is far, but as we've seen from countries that have experienced development and growth, it is possible. It is what we want is possible, but it's just going to be eternal vigilance and being consistent and pushing and teaching our own children and generations unborn that you just have to keep at it. The country of our dreams will not come because we are wishing for it to come or because we're angry. It will come because we're putting in the work. we're consistently putting in the work, engaging the communities that you have mentioned that don't have an understanding of the issues, and not feeling like, we are better than some group of people simply because, we have a degree or we've had some training, because we need everybody to be on board. Democracy is a game, is a game of numbers. It's for the people, by the people. So it's not for the educated people or for the illiterate people. It is for the people, irrespective of who you are, irrespective of how many degrees you have. So we just need to continue working in our own little space and collaborating to engage with the people that we feel we need to win to our side. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
All
come
right.
in. Yeah, I just have one or two things to chip in. I wanted to ask. There's what we call there's what people normally say culture is a way of life of people. You know, and then again, I recently I discovered that most of the youth or most of Nigerian youth, they believe that corruption, in a sense, like this corruption has eaten into like that has eaten deep into the fabrics of what the nation, like our nation's politics. You understand? And there's no how you can actually there's nothing you can do, you understand, to actually correct it. Most of the youth, they believe so. And then you talked about when you were addressing issues about voters apathy, and you said that things don't change because you sit at home, that you must, like, you should be proactive and the rest. And then you said something again about that if we want to change the status quo, we should provide opportunity for marginalized communities, at least, provide business opportunity, trainings, and the rest. But you didn't talk about the mental aspect of it, because I wanted to talk about that, because there's what we call what has been, what people see things to be, which is not
Mm,
the real thing. Do you
mm,
understand? So if we can actually correct that, and then you talked about some Yali alumni that are working on those things, you understand? But I've discovered that I don't know if you can actually share more light on the mental aspect, because you and I will agree that okay, they did. I was in Nasarawa State recent. I was in Nasarawa State in Akonga to be precise. There was this chairmanship election that they were doing. Like, I think it was recently. So I was opportune to talk with one of the candidates. You understand? I don't want to call the party name, and he was like saying something. He was like, I asked him a question. Are you sure this election will be fair and fair?
mm,
As a candidate, he told me that no. I was like,
mm,
so you understand? So I was like, why did you say so? He said he cannot because of some powers that be. But is there nothing that I said, but can't we make it to say no, they cannot. That you just it now depends on who rings, like who is the best ringer. That's what he said. The best ringer wins it. So I want to know, how do we change this? How do we change the mentality of the youth? And this person is a youth, and it's contesting for the post you understand? So how do we change the mindset? Because it starts from the mindset, and then that's it. Because if you provide business opportunity, marginalize and then all those things that you talked about, they are good, they are great. But if you have not changed the mindset, I feel like you cannot, because you cannot provide, no matter how you provide, so no matter what you do for a peak, you still go back to the distance, no matter what. So I don't know. It's the mindset that is the problem. So how do you think, as someone that has years of experience when it comes to politics, what do you think we can actually do, to change this mindset, and to, like, and to make our youth, realize that, look, things can still change despite, the status quo for now. So that's one thing I wanted to actually talk about.
Okay, to respond to your question, just to be sure that I got your question, the summary of your question is dealing with the mindsets of
Yes,
some young people
yes,
who believe in a certain norm, right?
yeah,
So you'd agree with me that change doesn't come once. You have identified the fact that there are two categories of people who believe a certain way and people who don't, right?
yeah,
I think that it is the responsibility of those of us who do not. Sometimes I feel we pay so much attention on, like, of course, you should know your opponents. You should understand the minds of people who do not agree with what you believe. But I think it is our responsibility as those who believe in the right thing, those who believe in a particular norm, to continue to talk about that message. You mentioned talking to your friend who was contesting Nasarawa State chairmanship elections. I hope that in that conversation, you spoke to him about, guy, it doesn't always have to be like this. There's an opportunity for you to make a difference as an individual. Culture, as you've identified, is the history, is a compilation of the way of life of a group of people over the years. So there's not going to be, a magic wand that fixes people's mindsets that have been structured by years and years of oppression and of people trying and getting disappointed. It's going to be difficult to make that change happen. But the other option is for us to not do anything and simply give up simply because we don't think things are possible. I believe that in Nigeria with a different mindset is possible. And I believe that it's my responsibility as one of the people who wants that change to talk about it, to engage it. When people are saying, oh, it is always going to be like this, to challenge that school of thought and say, why? Why does it always have to be like that? So it is, I think that in addressing that mindset, first, it is not going to happen overnight. I will be lying to you if I say, oh, there's going to be one president who is going to change Nigeria, you know, overnight. There's not going to be one president. There's going to be, presidents and governors and chairpersons and senators, lawmakers. We need hundreds of them to bring about the country we want to see. Because, like I said, we go back to democracy in 1999. Nigerians have had to live with years of disrespect, if I may put it that way, from the political class. So it's going to be difficult for you to change that mindset overnight and just say, oh, you guys, of course, they have good reasons to believe the way they believe because Nigerians have been disappointed. They have good reasons to say, oh, corruption is always going to be the norm. But it is our responsibility as those who think that this is wrong to say no, to speak against it and to provide platforms for these conversations, to say, guys, this can be different. And, to be the change, this might be cliche, but be the change you want to see. When people are saying, oh, Nigeria is messed up, Nigeria is this, always say, okay, and it should continue to be like that if we do not interrupt that process. Things will always be things will be static except something comes to interrupt that process. So we need to be those that will interrupt the process and start, the journey has started already. We just need to keep at it, like I said, and just continue to engage with those communities, continue to engage amongst ourselves and encourage one another because it is difficult to believe in Nigeria, quite frankly. I'm going to be very honest with you. Things are hard, for people everywhere. So don't blame people when they speak like that, but talk to them about a greater reality that you believe in the possibility of a Nigeria that actually thrives. Yeah, that's what I think. I mean, I hope
Wow,
I
thank
hope I
you.
was helpful in some way, but
Yeah,
let's just be real with ourselves in that regard.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being real. Like, you just hit the nail, on the head. Thank you very much. And we'll be moving to the next question. As an executive director, can you tell us the purpose of raising names voice initiative, news voice initiative? Can you just tell us what was the purpose? Like, how did it come about and the rest? So,
Okay, thank you. So we started New Voices after, I mean, groups like Not Too Young to Run, Yaga Africa, and a couple of other young people had come together to push for the constitutional amendment to reduce the age requirements for young people to run. But we also still identified the fact that young people didn't have the resources they needed in terms of like financial resources, training, or a critical mass to go together to encourage one another. So what we did was to establish the Raising New Voices initiative. And our first project was the Break the Old campaign, where we actually crowdfunded resources for 25 young people to run to be members of the House of Representatives. One of our candidates got elected, and the other young people who didn't get elected performed very well, in their elections and have continued to be strong political voices in Nigeria till date. Some of them have plans to run, for office in the nearest future. But from there, we have moved from crowdfunding resources to actually pushing for amendments in legislation that we believe are important to Nigerian people. So We have worked on bills such as the Electoral Act amendments, for example. We're working on the tech startup bills. We're also working on the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill. So now our work is centered around equipping young Nigerians to be better political leaders, inclusive governance, and legislative reform. So young people, young women, persons with disability, and legislative reforms promoting the passage of laws that are important to Nigerian people. So we engage lawmakers, we engage the critical stakeholders and say, this is what Nigerian youths would like to see in these laws. If there are laws that are currently pending, we examine them. We put excuse me, we put in the Nigerian youth perspective, and we actually go for these public hearings with lawmakers. We sit with them. We try to engage them to ensure that those laws are passed. Of course, legislative reforms doesn't stop at just the passage of the laws, but actually implementation. So we're also part of organizations that push for implementation of, existing laws as well. So that's the summary. Inclusive governance and legislative reform really sums up what New Voices does on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Thank you very much. Please, I okay. Thank you. I will move up to the next question. I want you and I know about the slow, judicial process. Like, for someone, looking forward to getting justice in Nigeria. Like it's so obvious that even the vice president, has been saying something about that for a long time now. So, as a matter of fact, what will you have to say about that? What effort have you expended to this effect, and how will you suggest we, the attendees, contribute our quota?
Okay, so I personally, in my individual capacity, I've worked on, I've been a part of various police reforms meetings and committees just to try to get better laws, policing laws in Nigeria. And I've also supported the work of the Nigerian Prison Service, providing trainings for inmates and engaging around correctional services as well in Nigeria. And of course, the NSAS, I participated in the protest as well. And I think that a lot of young Nigerians did that as well. Of course, our judiciary is a product of the Nigerian society. The police, the lawyers, the judges, the prison officials are people's fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, children. They are from the Nigerian society. So what I think that we can do as young people is to continue to engage these people in their individual capacities and official capacities. We mustn't stop. We shouldn't get tired of asking the right questions. I know that the NSAS was a very difficult, the NSAS protest was a very difficult time for a lot of Nigerian youths who actually thought that things would change. And unfortunately, but still a year after, things haven't really changed much. But things won't change, like I said, because we tried once or twice or three times even. Things will change because we continue to try and we don't give up. So I will continue to contribute to those platforms in my individual capacity, through the NGO that I work for, through my law firm as well. But I want to encourage as many young Nigerians as possible. The next time they say they're having public hearing on the police act, for example, go to the National Assembly, call your lawmaker. What's your position on this? Talk to your uncle who is a police officer. What are your challenges? And this new law is coming out. What do you think about it? Yeah, okay. Somebody's saying something in the
Okay, Chiamaka.
Oh, Chamaka is asking a question. Okay, I would address that. I think when I'm done addressing
Yeah,
this,
hold on.
thank you
Yeah.
for this is a very important question. Yes, so engage your lawmakers, engage the political office holders, because they are the ones who have the power to bring about the desired change. And when they see that people are asking the right questions, little by little, we can begin to, change as much as we can, one step at a time. Do you want to ask your question, another question, or should I just respond to what Chamaka is asking about?
Okay, you can just go on.
Okay, yes. Chamaka, yes, we are promoting political participation of persons with disability. In the last elections, we actually supported, I don't know if you know Lois Alta. She sits on the board of Raising New Voices as well. She's one of our board members, and she's a woman with disability who ran to be a member of the House of Representatives in 2019 elections. So yes, we're promoting political participation of persons with disability, not just because it's the right thing to do, or because they make up, 10 up to 10% of Nigerian population, but because we need all hands to be on deck to build the Nigeria that we want to see. So it's not just about having some group of people. Okay, I don't know if she's from Edo State though. I think she's from the North Central. I think she's married to an Edo man. I don't know. Sorry. I was responding to Chamaka's
Okay.
question.
Well, thank you
Yeah,
very
so
much.
yes, we are working with persons with disability as well, and we've supported the candidacy of one of them. We also supported the passage of the Disabilities Act, which was passed I think January 2019. And now there's supposed to be committees, that would ensure the implementation of the act. And we've continued to engage those committees as well. The president is yet to complete the setup and empowering these committees to act. So we've attended stakeholder deliberations on that as well. So definitely persons with disability are members of our society, and we are losing a lot from not allowing them to participate. I know that we've also encouraged, so the INEC now has, in the last election, they deployed ballot papers that would allow persons with visual impairments to participate in the election. So that is something that came from the hard work of persons with disabilities who were interested in participating politically. So I know some organizations have been taking the lead in that space as well, and we supported their work tremendously. Yeah.
Okay, well,
So,
thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chiamaka, for your question. At least she was able to throw more light on that. I wanted to ask the same question. Okay, let's move to the next question now. Every leader, actually started, as through volunteering, So personally for me, I think I did so many. So we would like you to tell us about your volunteering experience as well as importance of volunteering. Like, what did you learn from volunteering?
oh well, I mean, I still volunteer. Like,
Okay.
I still volunteer. Be it having conversations with other like-minded young people, like I'm doing right now, or getting involved in on-ground physical activities. I think that it's a platform to build your capacity, because so of course you should aim for perfection and aim to be the best. But when you're volunteering, it's a free platform for you to be a better person, be a better manager, and the pressure on you is low because there's no boss saying that if you don't do it, you're fired or something. You can learn to be a better people's person from volunteering. You can also meet persons of like minds. You can also meet people who would go on. I have a lot of people in my life now, my friends who have become, brothers and sisters to me, who have supported me in numerous ways, just from showing up at an event and working together. I'm like, oh, okay, this person is cool. So not just about even developing your career as an individual, it enriches your life in ways you cannot even imagine. It enriches your life. It helps you to also, I also feel it's a platform for you to take the focus off yourself and actually just give back to the society. you know, when you're busy volunteering or busy helping other people out, you're not even so focused on, oh, what are all my problems? You're just out there making another person's life better. I remember we had a trip to the orphanage. Was it last year, 2 years ago? And I met the owner of the orphanage, and now we just talk, ask about the kids and all of that. And it was just really that day. I think I was having a bad day, but after the experience, I felt better engaging with the kids. It was just such a wonderful experience. So apart from the fact that you are able to develop your skills, You get free training, free training about how to manage people of diverse minds, free training about how to act in a professional environment, free training about how to plan a program. Sometimes you even, I know some people who started, their, what do they call it, graphics designing from just doing volunteer graphic. But they were exposed to opportunities that when it was time for them to get a job, they just easily said, oh, I can do this. And that actually got them hired. Also, it helps your professional advancement. Professionals, companies don't want to hire people who are just one-way traffic, All they did in school was read their books, or all they do with their life is just work, work, work. There has to be something exciting about you, and volunteering can be that thing. I remember that when I was applying for my master's, I actually listed all the volunteering. I couldn't list everything because I've done a lot, a lot of volunteer stuff. But I listed a number of the things that I thought were in line with what I was trying to do, and that really stood me out from other candidates. Oluwaseun, please, can you mute yourself? Thank you. Yeah, that also, stood me out from the pool of people that were applying. Even for some people who have gone on to win scholarships, maybe the Chevening scholarships and the Commonwealth shared, they talk about the fact that volunteer experience was very important for them. Even for me, as at the time I was working with Kowa Party, I wasn't paid. I was just doing my thing. I was just developing myself. And when the opportunities came for me to get better training, I got those trainings. I got into public management and policy simply because I volunteered. So sometimes life has stuff in store for you, and you do not know until you take that step of faith and do something for people who cannot pay you back. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. So do I too. I've actually learned so many, volunteering. Thank you very much. So we will be going, we'll be moving to the next questions, and then, although it's not a question actually, but it just we wanted to know, you know, is there anything that you have, is there anything that you would like to tell, our attendees today? Like, is there any advice, or is there any, whatever that you would like to give them, like, for them to take home,
Mm,
today?
mm.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know. You've asked really exhaustive
yeah,
questions, and
yeah,
I've
yeah.
just been, going on and off. But I think that usually, um, my parting words would be to encourage us as young people, to continue to aspire to be better versions of ourselves. Opportunities will come and go, and it is whether you have been a good person to the people you were involved with. That it's how you treated those people that will stay back when long after those opportunities have gone. And I think that we are a very unique generation in the sense that all your successes and failures are on social media. Maybe not your failures, but like you can't just mess up. And normally before, if you just mess up, it should just be contained in a small environment. But
Yeah,
now, but now they'll drag you on Twitter or something. So
yeah,
that's just on a lighter note.
yeah,
So every time you want to do something, just ask yourself, is this the best I can do? Is this the best I can do? It might be in a little space, but you don't know who is watching, or you don't know where your name will get mentioned at. So always try to be the best possible version of yourself that you can be. And, you're not doing badly. You're not doing badly at all. Like, I meet a lot of young people who are like, oh my God, I've not done this, I've not done that. My life is this. I'm like, calm down, calm down on yourself. I know that people post stuff on social media and you're just thinking, oh, this one has done this one has done
yeah,
that. I've not done this, I've not.
yeah,
I mean, your time will come, and your time will come. Just keep at it. Keep striving to be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be, and your time will come. That's my time too will come. You
yeah.
people have not finished blowing, no. I'm still,
No,
on my way.
you are just
So
starting.
yeah,
Yeah, you're
exactly.
just
So
starting.
our
Yeah,
time will come, really.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Adebanke Ilori. Thank you very much today. Before we
Thank you
call it
so
today,
much.
yeah, before we call it, I believe we would like to take one or two questions before we go. So for please, our attendee, if you have any questions, I can still see people online. I can see Francis, Chotu, God's Glory, Ifezue, Happy, and my coordinator, Mayoko Adeoti, and then Benjamin too is still on. So, Adetola Oremosu, yeah, first, I don't know, the guy is online and the rest. So I don't know if you have a question, please you can actually mute your mic and unmute your mic and then ask so that our guests can actually take it and then before we call it a day.
And I think only Chiamaka asked questions, add
Okay.
question, and she just asked it. So, but I mean, I'm on the WhatsApp group. If you people have questions, you can just you can just chat me off now.
Okay, but sorry. I wanted to know, please, before we call it today, I would like you to drop your, your contact, LinkedIn, uh, and your social media handle, so that whoever that wants to connect with you from here can actually do that. That would be a great opportunity for everyone here. So
Okay.
so that's yes, you just have to drop your distance so that anyone that wants to connect you, that wants to do anything with you, that wants to really like partner with you or try to get one or two things from you, the person can actually contact you directly. So you can just do that.
I'm just going to drop that in the chat right now. Oh, sorry. Okay. So those are my details. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Wow. Thank you very much. I can see it's Twitter at Ilori again, Instagram at Adebanke Ilori _O, and then Facebook Adebanke Ilori Oyeniyi. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much for the
Yes.
opportunity.
Yeah. I would like to hand over. I would like to hand over the the mantle to my coordinator, which is Mayoko Adeoti. He will continue from here and then. Yeah. Well done, sir.
Hello.
Hello, Mayokon. We can hear you.
Hello.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yes. So I want to say very big, my immediate past regional coordinator. I hope my internet is clear. I hope you can hear me very
We
well.
can. Yes.
Oh, great. So once again, thank you so much for this time. We've really learned a lot from you. I don't know if this was mentioned in the course of the discussion, but then you happen to be my predecessor in this office.
Oh, yeah.
So
It wasn't
so
mentioned, but now everybody knows.
yeah. So I've actually been struggling to fill some very big shoes that you left behind.
Abba, Mike, you're doing exceptionally well. I mean, you have a strong team supporting you. You guys are. I tried to do this, but we used to like have the conversation on WhatsApp. Then now it's on YouTube, it's on Zoom, and I really applaud your leadership. I think you've done exceptionally well, and it can only get better for the North Central region from here. Thank you so much for your service to us all.
Amen. Yeah, we believe we can only get better. And thank you for being our special guest on this final episode of leadership table for the year 2021. Interestingly, we have had 20 editions. Like,
Wow.
we started, we started with the very first national president, Sipasi,
Yeah.
Olalekan Ayodele, then followed by Dorcas Bello, followed by Aisha Buba, followed by Emediong. And then we have gone around the country, we have gone around like the world. We've had all our past regional reps at the North Central region, and then we are rounding up with you. Thank you so much for this great time. And just like you mentioned, this would not have been possible without a solid team. Like, you can see the secretary, Benjamin Aaron, starting the meeting and then handing over to Ejike Abali, our project director. Today we didn't have our communication director, Stanley Agoha. We've had Omolara also. We've had what's this lady's name? Sandra, so it's been a teamwork all the while, not just me or me alone, you understand? So a big thank you to my team, that have stood by me right from January in this work of leading the North Central region. And as we are preparing to hand over in the next 1 month, we are hoping that the next team will be continuing with the good work we have started. And I want to say a big thank you to our guests. I can see someone like Francis Chotu. I can see God's Glory Fezwe. And then I can see Oluwaseun Ojo. Yes, let me not forget to mention Oluwaseun Ojo. He has been very, very instrumental for the success of this leadership table. As a matter of fact, Oluwaseun is our content creator. All the questions that we have been asking from episode 1 is the one that drafts the questions. Okay, so we don't just spin the questions from our head. Oluwaseun takes the time to go through the profile of the guest and draft the questions. So thank you so much. Appreciate this. And for every other guest, many of them are currently not on the call, but then you guys have been with us. You've been supporting what we are doing, and we say a very big thank you. With leadership table for the year 2021. With what we have put in place, I want to believe that it would not end here. Hopefully, the next team would continue from where we stopped. So once again, my predecessor, immediate past regional representative, North Central Region, thank you for your time today. And may God continue to bless you. Amen. And may you continue to do great in your career.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Banke Ilori. Thank you.
Thank you.